It began like all the other days did. Another day or night perhaps spent waking up in REM. It was a bizarre feeling. One moment your eyes are closed and ready to succumb to the abyss of darkness and dreams, and then the next you're awake again. Honestly, you were starting to get a bit tired of it. You wanted to sleep more, and immerse yourself in darkness and dreams. Dream an actual dream for once, because honestly you forgot what it was like to dream. When you would get used to this sort of thing, the world may never know. You may never know. You thought this whole situation was a dream at first, when you arrived and crash landed into REM. Because everyone and everything seemed to have wanted you dead. All because they thought you had magic. All because you had wings. But then it evolved into something more. You found yourself on an adventure, ended up teaming with unlikely allies like Ruth, defeated darkness quite literally, and escaped the cave that you and Ruth found yourself stuck in. You arrived at the peaceful kingdom named Aerowyn, and now you find yourself here. You are here in the world of REM. You are here in the kingdom of Aerowyn. You are here lying in bed, slowly opening your eyes to the faint sounds of birds singing outside your window, waking up unwillingly. Ugh. 10 more minutes, please. You tried to stay asleep as much as you could, lying there in silence, listening to the sounds of birds in an effort to drown out the persistent nagging in your head. That nagging sounded like this. Good morning, Nova. It's time to wake up. Time to seize the day. You have things to get done. The early bird gets the bird, they say. The early bird gets the worm, they say. The sun has risen, time for you to do the same. But no matter how many times you tried to calm your racing head and purge it from the nagging, nothing worked. Your thoughts were as relentless as ever, whispering reminders and prodding you to action. Time is of the essence, and it didn't wait for anything. With a sigh, you sat up, and your thoughts went quiet for once. The next steps were easy. Getting up, stretching. You especially stretched your wings, because they were sore. They were sore from lying on them all night, and letting out a single resonant yawn. Alright, I'm awake. Speaking of time, a lot has happened since you and Ruth arrived at Aerowyn. Well, sort of. Mainly you tried to rest and heal up as much as you can, as Felice and Dr. Sullivan suggested. You were still recovering. You spent a lot more time trying to figure out what was going on with you, and getting used to this whole, for when you sleep in one world, you wake in another thing. Turns out, many in Aerowyn think it's because of the awakening, and that any travelers who have fallen from the sky and aren't from this world are a symbol of hope. Ruth, who you found out was originally from this kingdom, had been helping you settle in, and even though you knew he was still mad at you, it was thanks to him that you had a place to stay now. He introduced you to his landlady, Lady Evelyn, by filling her in on your situation, and graciously gifted you a place to live, fulfilling his end of the deal he promised you. Thus, now you're here, sitting up in your own bed. And you're grateful for it, because if it weren't for Ruth, you're pretty certain you would be sleeping on the streets instead. Now that you're up, you look around at your new home. Then you do your usual routine, getting out of bed, freshening up, making breakfast. And today's breakfast includes a loaf of bread from Lady Evelyn, who gifted it to you last week, and it's waiting for you on the table. Yum! You enjoyed a warm slice of bread. As you did, you noticed only a few slices were left. A concern hung over you. Lady Evelyn often gives you meals for welcome gifts, but you know it won't last. Right now, your meals are these few slices of bread, a reminder of what needs to be done. You had hoped for more adventures. It's been calm and quiet. You feel like you're back at the beginning, a bit disappointed. Even in this world, it seems responsibilities are still in full effect. I need to think of something fast. Instead of dwelling on your responsibilities and lack of food, however, you decided to change the scene. You strolled over to the window, cracked it open, and let the cool breeze roll in. You take a beat, close your eyes, and greet the kingdom before you with enthusiasm. Another day is a chance at something different. Today is the day that you are finally going to make a change. Today, you are going to find adventure instead. Good morning, Aerowyn. Huh. I'm not gonna lie. This view is pretty good. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good morning thoughts in my head. Hello, stars. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's been a while. It's been like so long. How are you guys today? We're in a new place. Bread. 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 Give me bread. We're in a new place. I have an apartment now. Yeah. We are not mugging. Yeah, we're not mugging people. That's not good. This is my new apartment, guys. Look at this. Isn't it nice? Like I have couches. It came fully furnished. I have a desk, bed. I have like shelves, dresser, all that fun stuff. I have table, kitchen. Do I still have to use yet? I don't have a lot of money. Well, I'll when I get money, I will use it. But yeah, guys, it's been a while. We've been trying to settle it as much as we can. Mugging rank. Jesus. I honestly, and this city is pretty huge, and we haven't done too much exploring. We have a plan today. Today we're gonna go do exploring. Today is the day we are going to finally find out where everything is in Aerowyn, because as you guys know, Aerowyn's probably it is huge. I'm not gonna lie, it is huge. It's huge. It's crazy. So I'm gonna grab my stuff and we're gonna get started for the day. Okay? Let's go get started. You guys ready? 'Cause I am. I'm ready. Alright. Time to get ready for the day. Sword. Check. Extra slice of bread. Check. Rocks. Wait, why do I still have these? I guess they could be useful. Check. Alright, I think that's everything. Let's go exploring. What are these? Nova, when you're awake, please come find me. I have something I would like to discuss with you. Ruth. Oh, come on. What now? What could he possibly want to discuss with me this time? Oh well, I guess I'm going to see Ruth then. What's this one? Greetings, dear. I trust this message reaches you well. I'm reaching out to inform you that the rent is due at the end of the month. The outstanding amount to your rent is 400 copper coins. When you have them, please hand them to me personally by the end of the month. If any trouble shall arise regarding paying your rent, feel free to keep me informed, and I'll try my best to help you. Best regards, Lady Evelyn, from Astra Centrum Residency. Wait, what? 400 copper coins? You've got to be kidding me. I can't believe this. You guys. Oh no. This is the worst. 400 copper coins? What the heck? I mean, I guess we gotta commit crime. I mean, I kind of don't want to commit crime, to be honest. Yeah, that's not the best way. Yeah, I don't even know the, oh god, that's another thing. I don't even know what the currency is. All I know is that copper coins so far, but what the heck? 400 copper coins. This, okay, this is insane. Let me just put some of my stuff in my inventory here. Oh no. Oh no. I mean, I knew I had to pay rent soon, but oh, I'm such a mess. I'm such a mess. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. I'm panicking. Oh no. Maybe I should have known because it was fully furnished. I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, come on. This sucks. This sucks. This sucks. Ah! Good morning, Nova, dear. You were just in the middle of freaking out and panicking when suddenly a voice startles you. Gah! Who? Your heart races with the worry about money, the weight of the coins feeling like an oncoming storm in your mind. You quickly turn around to see who it is. It is Lady Evelyn, your landlord, or landlady? Landlord lady. The one, in any case, she's the woman with silver-esque hair wearing a pale yellow dress, the one who remains at the apartment who owns the apartment you live in, the one who is standing at the desk and decided to greet you. Oh, hello, Lady Evelyn. It's just you. What are you doing here? Jeez, you scared me. Lady Evelyn smiles at you, beaming. I'm doing management this morning. How are you doing on this fine morning, dear? Is the apartment treating you kindly? Lady Evelyn asks. Well, that's good to see, at least. The fact that she's having a better morning than you are. Your financial struggles aside, though, you try to return the smile back to her and respond. But while doing so, your eye twitches a bit. Stop that! Yes, ma'am. It's a lovely place. After she asks how you're doing, she asks a question you weren't exactly excited to answer next. That's good to hear. Did you get the letter I gave you this morning? You try to play a bit dumb for this one, and give a nervous laugh. A letter, you ask? Lady Evelyn remains smiling. Yes, a letter. I gave one out to all my tenants yesterday. I slipped it underneath your door. It gave you information on rent. Yeah, that letter. Oh, I see. Yes, I did get your letter then, actually. Wonderful. Do you have any questions for me about the rent, perhaps? You really didn't want to talk about the rent with Lady Evelyn. Mainly because all you planned to talk about... It's mainly because you planned to talk about it with Ruth first. Because first of all, you didn't know how currency works here. And you didn't want her to know that. But it seems you have no other choice. It would be rude just to try and avoid her questions. So instead, you try to face them. Actually, I guess while you're here, I did have one question. Lady Evelyn gives you a concerned look. Oh? What's your question, dear? Since we're on the topic, how many days do I have until the end of the month exactly? Lady Evelyn tilts her head to the right in curiosity, then chuckles a bit. That's an odd question to ask. But the end of the month is in 2 weeks. Why? Is something the matter? 2 weeks? Oh crap. Now you're seriously in debt. You need to find a job and fast. Good thing you were already going out and exploring. You give a defeated sigh. Oh, I see. Well, then yes. There is a small worry. You see, I was planning on starting the process of finding a job. And I guess the process starts today. The first paycheck might take a bit. Is there any chance we could discuss some flexibility with my due date for rent? I see. Lady Evelyn ponders, then shakes her head. I'm sorry, dear. Changing the rent date might not be possible due to the agreement, but if you're concerned about paying it all on time, I can cut your rent in half. Would 200 copper coins be better for you instead? Your eyes light up and give a quick nod. While it wasn't exactly the answer you were looking for, you still express your gratitude. In half? That's still better than 400. Yes! Yes! That would be a huge help. Thank you so much, Lady Evelyn. Lady Evelyn smiles, kindly, pleased to hear that the solution works for you. Of course. You're very welcome, dear. I know finding a new job can be a bit... can take time. Don't stress about it right now. Anything to make things easier for you. She reassures you. Is there anything else I could help you with this morning? You take a moment to think about her question. Then you remember you need to meet Ruth. So you proceed to ask, yes, actually, do you know if Ruth is home at his apartment by chance? I also got a letter from him this morning saying to come find him, but he failed to let me know where he'd be. Ruth? I'm not sure. You could try his apartment first, and if he's not there, maybe check the tavern at Astra Centrum. He often goes there to read when he can. You smile and bow in front of her, an action of thanks. Great. Thank you so much, Lady Evelyn. I have to go now. He doesn't like waiting for me. Bye! One thought remained. Wait, where was this tavern exactly? But it was already too late. After thanking her again, you decide to rush towards the door. Lady Evelyn waves goodbye. Of course, you're very welcome. Have a safe travels, dear. Okay, alright, okay, 200 copper coins is definitely better than, that was a close call, guys. Holy crap. We need to find Ruth, because this is not okay. But also, like, gosh dang it, I really wanted to go exploring today. Okay, you know what? Let's just see if he's here. Ruth? Hello? Knock knock. Are you here? Hello? I got your letter. Huh? Wait, it's unlocked. That never happens. Ruth? Hello? This is strange. He never leaves his door unlocked. Nope, we're not gonna go look into his room. I feel like he wouldn't like that. Okay, well, I guess if he's not in here, guys, let's probably go try the tavern. Let's go find Ruth, because, yeah, maybe he's elsewhere. Maybe he's there. I hope he's there. Otherwise, I don't know where else he'd be. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't want to say. Did it say anything else on the note? No, not really. He just said, come find me when you're awake. Which doesn't help at all. But you know. That's lovely, I guess. That's lovely. Okay, well, let's go find Ruth. Maybe he will have an idea if we talk to him. And yeah, let's, yeah, this place is huge. I've gotten lost a couple of times trying to be here. Let's go. Yeah, okay, we're gonna go find Ruth. Let's go find him. There's so much here. So many places to choose from. Like there's a gardener, there's a baker, a cafe. But I've been kind of walking for a while now, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know where this tavern is. There's too many directions. Ask for help? I mean, sure, I mean, those guys look like they're busy talking. Maybe let's ask this guy. You spot a man reading a book on this side of the path. You approach him. As you do, the man looks up from his book towards the sound of your voice. Can I help you? Hello. Sorry for interrupting. I'm new here in Aerowyn and trying to meet with someone at the tavern. Could you point me to the nearest tavern by chance? Directions? Sure. There are several taverns in Aerowyn, but for Astra Centra, there's Rayburn's Tavern just down the street. If you go back that way and then see a big building, it's on the right. Oh, got it. I must have passed it then. The man nods. You're welcome. Anything else? Nope. That's it. Thanks again. Okay. So I passed it. This is kind of crazy. Okay. Okay. So he said down the street. Yeah, everyone here is so nice. By the way, everyone I've met so far is so nice. Okay, so he said down the street. And in what direction? That's a lie? Huh? Oh, well, I mean, so far everyone I've met is nice. Down the street. That doesn't look like a tavern. That doesn't look like a tavern. That doesn't look like a tavern. This looks promising. Let's try this one. You swing the door open. Wait, hold on. Let me walk in a little bit more. Okay. You swing the door open, its old hinges protesting with a creak, and step into the cozy embrace of Rayburn's Tavern. Despite the grandeur of the building, the tavern itself is quaint. The floor is dotted with a handful of tables and a couple of snug booths. Surprisingly, despite the tavern being small and cramped, the place is buzzing with lively patrons and vibrant paintings, clearly an effort of decorating, adorned on the stone brick walls. There's no space for a stage, but the symphony of voices and the sizzle of the kitchen fill the air. As you take it all in, a delightful aroma wafts towards you, teasing your senses. A hunger pangs in your stomach. Apparently, one lone slice of bread can't tame your appetite as much as you hoped for. Yeah, yeah. It wasn't the food that you were here for, however. As unfortunate as that sounds, You are here for Ruth, who you hoped was still here waiting for you. You glanced around the room and didn't see him anywhere. You didn't even bother looking at the booths in fear of bothering random customers. Perhaps one of the workers could help you? I don't see him here. Maybe I can... Ack! Before you can make any advancements, the door swings open to your right, and the body of someone suddenly slams into you, knocking you both onto the floor. As fast as the attack occurred, you both quickly scrambled to your feet, and afterwards, you finally get to look at the person who ran into you. In front of you was a boy who stood a few inches taller than you, with short, messy brown hair and eyes a sort of sparkling cerulean blue. He wears an uncomfortable, scratchy-looking coffee brown sweater and some plain black pants and shoes. His eyes widened after he realized he ran into you. I'm so sorry, he exclaims. I didn't think anyone was going to be standing there. His voice trails off as he speaks. Now that you think about it, this guy did just come from a seemingly private door. Oh, it's okay. I didn't realize there was a door there, you admit. It gets a bit awkward at first, but then you ask him what you need to know. Do you work here by chance? If so, I was wondering if you could help me. I'm looking for someone who might be here. He tilts his head. Yeah. He starts. Please tell me you aren't looking for an Ovek? Bad track record. You frown. Ovek? What kind of name is that? You're 99% sure he just made that name up, but regardless, you shake your head and then give him a few descriptors of Ruth. White hair, wears clothes as if he's royalty or something, and looks a bit angry all the time. The boy's face immediately scrunches as if trying to remember. After a brief moment, he shakes his head. Can't say I have. I've also been in the middle of some other stuff today, so I'm probably not the best set of eyes here, unless... He looks vaguely up and to the side with the eyebrow raised, before exhaling and turning back to you. I tried Buckley. He's the guy that runs the place. You can probably find him at the bar or in the kitchen. Oh. Okay. The boy nods and then flashes finger guns at you before pushing past and running out the door. A motion you didn't think anyone would know how to do here. Huh. You tried not to overthink about it though. Anyways, you were thankful for his direction and decided to try talking to Buckley, who was in the kitchen instead. Who was in the kitchen ahead. Okay. Alright, let's... Well, there are a lot of people here. This must be the window. Ah! Okay, careful not to disturb any other customers in the middle of the way. You make your way over to the kitchen window. You peek through to see a busy work area filled with pots, pans, dishware, and one singular man. This must be Buckley. Is he doing all this alone? The other guy left, and you can't exactly spot any other help. The man himself looks older. Old enough to be your father. Or your father's father. From his back, you can see short dark gray hair and a respectable formal casual attire of a white dress shirt, brown pants, and suspenders. You really hope that this person named Buckley has the answers you're looking for. Hello? Buckley turns around at the sound of your voice and locks eyes with you. His expression quickly morphs into a polite smile. He gives the pot one more stir before setting the wooden spoon on top of it and steps away. Then he approaches the other side of the window to greet you. Welcome in. Have a seat anywhere. he says, greeting you. He gently hands you a menu, and by instinct you take it. Then, he begins to walk back into the kitchen. I'll come out and get your order in a few minutes. And before he can disappear back over to the pot, you decide to speak up. Actually, my apologies. I don't know if I'm ordering food at the moment, but I am looking for someone who might be here. His name is Ruth. He stops and turns around. You see what seems to be a bit of fear in his eyes. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were looking to eat. You reassure him that it's okay before giving describing Ruth again. White hair, blue cloak, generally sour looking all the time. He doesn't smile at all, actually, now that you think about it. He hasn't smiled once since he met you. Maybe a slight smirk here and there, but that was it. You wish he did sometimes, because it would make it easier for you to tolerate him, but a bit more. But that wasn't the case. Buckley tilts his head. Was he thinking? Or maybe Ruth just isn't here. Is it that fellow behind you? He asks. Turning around, you immediately spot Ruth sitting alone in a booth directly behind you. Well, that's totally not super embarrassing at all. What are the odds? Yeah, that's him. Thanks. Buckley smiles again. Of course. Glad to see his date showed up at least. What? After an awkward quiet, he speaks up again, realizing his mistake. Or family member. Sorry. Didn't mean to assume. Just thought he was getting stood up. Felt bad for the poor guy. Oh no, he's just a friend. That's what you wanted to say. But Buckley speaks again. Anyways, if that's who you were looking for, then I'll leave you to it. But do tell him to order something if he's just going to sit around and wait around, yeah? Buckley says. Right. Thanks again. Your face flushes red with embarrassment. He gives you one final smile of acknowledgement and steps back over to his pot. You remain standing there in place for a moment, thinking to yourself, date? Family member? Ew. You could scarcely imagine anything more awkward than that. He's just a friend. Nothing more, nothing less. Could you even call him a friend? Now that you mention it, you don't really know what to call him exactly. But before you lose your nerve about what was said, you decide to make yourself known and march over to Ruth's booth to sit across from him. Okay, hey Ruth, I got your letter. What's up? Ruth, startled at once, slammed his book that he was reading shut. At the sound of your voice. As he does, he straightens up and clears his throat. Finally, you're here. I was beginning to think that maybe you got lost, and I'd have to come find you or something. Ruth says in an effort to greet you. Sorry about that. Would have been here sooner, but you didn't give me directions on where to find you. Plus, I ran into Lady Evelyn on the way here too. What do you mean? I thought I gave you directions, Ruth asks. You shake your head. You didn't. I have the letter here as proof if you want to read it again. Ruth sighs. No need. Either way, it took you long enough, he says. You rolled your eyes. Of course, that was a trait of his you picked up on. He doesn't like to notice his mistakes. Anyways, you wanted to speak to me about something? Yes, he starts. As you know, I've been a bit busy recently. Ruth had been awfully distant after he helped you get an apartment. You wonder what gives? Yeah, how come? You await his answer, And as you do, you take another glance at Buckley in the kitchen, who's too busy to notice the two of you. Then Ruth says, "It's because I've been preparing to leave the city, and I'll be heading back to Olden shortly." You choke on air at the sudden news. Then, in a screeching yelp, "Wait, you're what?" The tavern falls silent after your sudden shout. You cringe as you realize you spoke out of turn. Then you shield yourself from the glances in your direction, giving everyone an apologetic look. Even Buckley seemed to have heard you. "For God's sake, there's no need to shout," Ruth says, frowning. Finally, the voices of everyone resumed back to normal. "Don't act surprised. You should have known that this sort of thing would have happened soon. Did you forget that I didn't want to leave Olden in the first place? It was because of your teleportation mishap that I ended up back here," Ruth reminds you. "That wasn't me that caused that, though. It was the..." Ruth stops you from speaking further. "Yes, I know that it wasn't you, but still." You frown. A sentiment of sadness invades. You can't believe this was happening. Ruth was leaving, and you were going to be left alone. "Regardless of whether it was your fault or not, I have to leave," Ruth says. "I can't just up and abandon everything over there. I assume that once I hear back from my superior, they'll want me back there anyways." "But you promised you would help me." Your voice falters a bit. It was Ruth's turn to frown now. "I did help you, didn't I? We figured out why this may be happening to you, and I helped you find a place to stay. Isn't that more than enough? Apartments aren't exactly cheap, you know." "Well, I mean, yes, you did help me with that, and I'm grateful. It's just..." You look down, ashamed and embarrassed. "Were you being selfish because you were trying to ask for more help? Ruth did help you a lot. He did say that the rest would be on you to do on your own. You can't rely on other people all the time. You know that all too well. And there was another problem now. You needed to find a job, and you didn't know where to start. There were so many things you were unsure of as well. I'm sorry, it's just... there's still so much I don't know about in this world, and I don't even know where to begin. Ever since I got here, I've been so focused on surviving and getting out of danger. I haven't had the chance to learn anything else. I don't even know anything about the currency here." I understand where your incessant worrying comes from, but the fact of the matter still stands. I can't be your mentor. And if it's how to start you're stuck with. The first place I would go to is the library if you need anything. Another issue. I don't even know where that is. Ruth gives an irritated sigh. For Unity's sake, you really are hopeless, aren't you? You can't bear to face him now. Geez, way to salt the wound a little bit more, you guess. You really were hopeless, huh? Always relying on someone else's help. But then again, you were trying to change that, weren't you? Just this morning, you were trying to help yourself, for once. But it was because of Ruth that your plans changed a bit. I would have been fine if you didn't ask me to come meet you today. You say, anger bubbling up inside your chest. I was going to try and explore, but then I got your letter, and plans changed. The look on Ruth's face softens. I see. My apologies. I didn't mean to interfere with your plans. Was that an apology you just heard from him? No, it couldn't have been. He sighs. I suppose if you want to skip the part where you go to the library, I guess I can give you this to help instead. You glance back up at him. Give you what? You tilt your head at Ruth, and as you do, you see him pull out a giant book. Your eyes widen at the sheer size of it, and he sets it on the table in front of you. What is that? Jeez! Do you store that thing in your pocket or something? Since when did you have that with you? You gawk at the size of the book. He stares at you, unamused. Ruth then rolls his eyes. It's a book. And no, I didn't carry it in my pockets. I just brought a couple of books with me, and this was one of them. It's an encyclopedia of most things in the country of Mythos. You raise an eyebrow, confused. Mythos? But I thought we were in Aerowyn. Ruth pinches the bridge of his nose. Yes, we are in the kingdom of Aerowyn. But Mythos is the land that Aerowyn and Olden stand on. This book will tell you everything you need to know, as well as provide a map or two. Okay then. Thanks, I guess? After Ruth gave you the book, another awkward silence washes over the booth. To pass time, you consider opening the cover and taking a look at the first page you saw. Table of contents sits within the first page. There were so many topics that were covered in this book. Everything from countries to animals, different types of races, as well as magic and divinity and REM. You don't lie to yourself over the fact that when you see the word magic, curiosity gets the best of you. You recall when talking to Felice and Dr. Sullivan one time, you talked about being angel. Siri, I didn't call for you. Sorry, Siri spoke behind me. Anyways, where was he? You learned through them that being an angel had the ability to use magic, but now that you are fallen, it's best to stay away from that so you don't hurt yourself during the process. But now you're healed fully. Perhaps you could use magic again. Yeah. There was a lot that this book covered. Perhaps you will give it more of a read later. You didn't feel like reading much now anyways. You were worried about Ruth leaving instead. What were you going to do once he leaves? You're on your own. You didn't plan this part out much. A part of you was hoping he'd stay so that you can make it up to him somehow. But I guess that wasn't the case anymore. The silence at the table was definitely deafening, so you decided to work up another conversation. So, are you going to order anything? The guy at the counter told me that you should order food if you're just going to sit around. Apparently, they don't like loitering. At least, the owner doesn't anyways. Ruth hesitantly responds. I was waiting until you got here to order. You nearly choke on air again for a third time, but you stop yourself before you do. Did you hear him correctly? He was waiting for you. Well, that's new. You were so shocked that you could only muster up one word of response. Oh. Then the rest happened. Ruth went over to tell Buckley that you both would like to order something. Buckley took your order, and then you both waited in silence again. Ruth went back to reading, and while you sat there, you supposed reading was Ruth's favorite way to ignore eye contact with you. Seconds melted into minutes, then eventually the food came. You forgot the name of it, but it didn't matter. You didn't hesitate to start eating. Not only did it look delicious, it tasted delicious too. Several bites in, you noticed Ruth didn't touch his food much. He picked at it with his fork a bit. He seemed to be observing you instead. You froze with your mouth full. Once you realized he was staring at you, you stare at him confused. Was there something on your face? You didn't exactly see why he would be staring at you or what you would be doing wrong. You tried to eat neatly, so just what was he looking at exactly? What? What? Ruth clears his throat and looks away once he realized he was staring at you. Then he responds, How can you eat like that? He asks in a judging manner. You swallow and raise an eyebrow. Eat like what? Without a fork or a spoon, he says. Oh, so he was judging how you ate your food. You're not sure what kind of food it was, but it did seem to be something you ate in your world. Food that you could pick up with your hands. That's normal, right? So why was he complaining? Because it's food that you can eat with your hands? He lets out a disgusted sigh. Well, there goes my appetite, he says, pushing away his plate. You scowl at him. What? Have you never heard of food you eat with your hands before? Surely that can't be sanitary, Ruth says, scowling back at you. And there it was. Ruth's usual cold, rude demeanor coming back into view. That's it. You stop eating, and from there you give him a piece of your mind. Oh, heck off, dude. You know, you've been nothing but rude to me since I've met you. I'm not in the best mood right now. I've got enough on my plate as there is, and I most certainly don't want to hear you complaining about how I eat my food. Can you just, for once in your life, stop being rude? Or does that come with your name? Rude Ruth. It's not that. It's just... I've never seen anyone eat like that before, Ruth confessed. Then it hits you. You take in his details. He did look like someone from a more dignified background. Not like a commoner. You didn't know who he was still, and that bothered you. Without hesitation, you finally asked the question you've been dying to ask him since the two of you met. Just, who are you? I gotta drink water. Hydrate, chat. Okay. Ruth's eyes widen, then he frowns at your question. What do you mean? You squint at him in response. You're strange, you know. One minute you rescue me, and then the next it feels like you only care about yourself. You're always dressing fancy and talking all proper, like you're royalty. And those missions, every time I ask, it's always classified. What are you, some sort of detective or something? And the food, seriously, who even cares about that? What's your deal? Normal people don't act like the way you do. He sat there in silence, jaw clenched, as he just listened to you. Then, when you're finished, he shifted uncomfortably in his seat, glancing away for a moment, before meeting your gaze again. Perhaps you've forgotten. I didn't willingly help you. You blackmailed me into helping you. I'm far from royalty, but I don't think you would call what I do being a detective either. He pauses, then looks down. I didn't mean to offend you, but I don't think talking about me is going to get us anywhere. How's your progress with settling in Aerowyn coming along? Gods, he's so frustrating. Once again, he changes the subject. He always changes the subject away from him ever since when it came to something personal. You want to argue with him and actually make him answer, but you decide to bite your tongue and continue on with his conversation. You suppose now was the time to inform him about something else that troubled you. I mean, not so great. Living in my new place is great, but I learned that I have to pay rent. I've been planning on searching for a job, or at least trying to, but no luck. I'm stuck here with you instead. Ruth gives another look of discontent. You mean to tell me you haven't found a job yet? You look down. Yeah. Ruth then says, Geez, guess I need to help. I'll need to step in and help again. Your eyes widen. What? No, you don't have to. I swear I can. Ruth raises his hand to stop you from speaking further. Consider it a favor, since I've been causing you trouble. I've been busy and not checking in. This is the most I can do. The last thing I'll help with before you leave, Ruth explained. You frown. He didn't need to help you, but you really wanted to try and find the job on your own. But he's being stubborn, not letting you have a say in this. Well, we'll start right now. Let's just hope I can salvage the day from this dreadful conversation with you, he says. Then, without a word, Ruth pushes aside his still full dish and stands up from the table, dropping a few copper coins on the surface. Then she begins to walk away. You stare at him wide-eyed. Wait, what? Now? But I haven't finished eating yet. I don't have all day. Just follow me. Then, with that, he walks out. You blink in disbelief. and stare at the copper coins sitting on the surface. Is he really going to help you again? This is nuts. This is totally out of character for him. But he's leaving you behind. Maybe you should catch up. In a rush, you bolt up from your seat. Hurry to take one more bite. Grab the heavy book that Ruth gave you. Then proceed to catch up with Ruth. Ruth! Wait up! Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Okay, okay, ooh. I'm sorry, there's been an emergency. He left coins on the table. Thank you for your food. Bye! Okay. Where did he go? Oh god. He walks so fast. Ruth! Oh jeez, oh jeez, oh jeez, oh jeez, oh jeez. Oh jeez. Huh? Who's that? Huh. Ruth!
Excuse me, sir. Is your name Ruth by chance?
Yes.
This letter is for you. I was meant to drop it off to you personally. Something about private business matters and security. Whatever that means.
Ruth? Who was that? Is everything alright?
I guess this changes the agenda for the day. Never mind, I guess I won't be leaving Aerowyn after all. And I guess this means I won't be helping you.
What? Why? What's going on?
I have another mission to attend to.
So I'm right. You are a detective. Another mission? Is it from that mysterious supervisor again?
I'd hardly call what I do being a detective. And yes, it's another mission. This just changes things. I can't do two things at once.
Clearly. So what are we gonna do?
We aren't doing anything. I'm just gonna have to have someone else help you instead.
Or you could, let me try on my own? Or let me come with you? Besides, what's this mission anyways?
That is for me to know and no concern for you. I can't exactly trust that you'd be able to do it on your own. You have proven to me that you don't.
Well, I would if you just gave me time to...
I really don't want to resort to this. In any case, I know someone else who can possibly help instead. They say we're friends, but...
You have friends?
Just an acquaintance of mine, but they live at the Mistral Quarry, so we have a long walk ahead. Come on, let's go.
Oh, okay then. What is going on? Ruth, are we there yet?
No, just keep walking.
Are we there now?
For the love of unity, can you please stop asking?
Finally, somebody who looks like authority around here. Hey, sir, are you able to help us with something?
Huh?
Ugh, what now? I'm sorry, there seems to be a misunderstanding. I'm just passing by and on my way to visit an acquaintance of mine who lives here.
Is your acquaintance the person who lives in that house 2 doors down by chance?
Yes, actually, how did you...
Well, finally, for unity's sake. Regardless of who you are, if you're going there, then please send a word to the small one in the quarry. Us neighbors are getting real tired of the loud noises they're making. The guards won't do anything.
Sure, I'll take care of it, I suppose.
Thank you kindly. I must go then. Hope to hear good results afterwards.
Ugh, the nerve of some people. I swear if one more person asks one more thing of me, I'll...
Who was that?
Just a bystander. I assume that an acquaintance of mine has been causing a few scenes here and there. Let's go before I lose my motivation to even do this for you.
That guy was strange. Is this the place? You and Ruth walk through a new area of Aerowyn, one that you've never quite seen before. It's a bit more on the rural side that you're used to. More trees and a small amount of houses scattered about. This is the Mistral quarry that Ruth keeps mentioning. As you walk through the forested area, you eventually stop at a small and quaint, charming little house nestled in the quarry. The one the old man from before pointed towards a bit ago. When you approach the door, the clamor of clanking metal, turning gears, and distant shouts emanates within. You can see why the man was issuing a noise complaint now. There was a lot of noise. Just who was this person that Ruth has taken you to meet? You cast a glance at Ruth, who remains unfazed from the sounds. So, this is the place? Unfortunately, yes. Ruth says. Then he walks up to the door. Magnus, it's Ruth. Open up. In an instant, noise quiets. Then a muffled voice of a girl behind the door queries. Huh? Was that a knock I heard? Ruth escalates to a louder series of knocks, prompting a clatter and the sound of hurried footsteps. The voice you presume belongs to a person named Magnus. Hello? Who's there? Magnus, it's Ruth. Open up, Ruth insists. A small slot in the door, presumably for mail, opens. 2 eyes made of amethyst peer into you. You jump in surprise. Ruth? There's no way. If that's really Ruth, what's the password then? Magnus asks. Ruth groans and pinches the bridge of his nose. Magnus, I don't have the time for this. Please, open the door and let us in. No way! It really is you! Finally, the door swings open, and a short purple blur rushes out, tackling Ruth. Ruth! You step back in surprise, finally catching sight of the person who Ruth mentioned. A figure much shorter than you, with vibrant purple hair, gray overalls, goggles, unusual ears, and to your astonishment, a tail. What the heck? She has a tail! The mysterious person named Magnus embraces Ruth and awkwardly tries to fend them off. It's an amusing scene, and the tail aside, you can't help but laugh. Ruth! Oh my god! I can't believe it! It really is you! They exclaim. Are you alright, Ruth? You look a little stuck there. Ruth shoots you a glare, prompting you to stifle your laughter. After a struggle, he finally manages to push the small person away and brushes off his clothes as if there was dust on them. Ugh, Magnus, unhand me, would you? He shouted, resisting the force that held him in place. Ruth! To what do I owe the pleasure of seeing you today? Magnus says, greeting him with a bow. Ruth scowled. Don't pretend to be so formal after what you just did, he sneers. Magnus responds with a bit of a ramble. Well, I'm sorry. It's just, you've been gone for weeks and not returning any of my letters, or even answering the door when I knock. It's only right that I attack a friend with a hug, especially one that I haven't seen in months. Where have you been? You had me worried sick. Acquaintance, Magnus. Acquaintance, not a friend. I haven't been returning your letters because you said send one almost every day. I was out of town I was also out of town in Olden, Ruth explains, irritation evident in his tone. Olden? What in Unity's sake were you doing there? Whoa, is that a fallen angel I see? Who are you? Magnus rushes up to you, getting remarkably close to your face, as if she was expecting you. It made you a bit uncomfortable. Hello. It's nice to meet you. Magnus, please calm down, Ruth says. Then he says, Magnus, this is Nova. Nova, meet Magnus, my acquaintance. Magnus suddenly realized her haste. Oh, right! Of course! Forgive me. I was a bit rude there. Hello! It's nice to meet you. Would you two like some tea? I have some tea. I always do, especially when you visit, Ruth. Ruth, now relieved, sighed. Finally. Yes, please. Tea would be nice, he said. Tea sounds lovely. Thank you. Great! Come on in and follow me, Magnus says. Then, at the sound of your agreement, Magnus excitedly rushes inside, humming to a tune. You and Ruth exchange glances before following her inside. Well, she seems nice. Okay, then. Whoa! This is her house? This is cool. Wait, I want to take a look. I want to be sneaky. What the heck? Look at this. This is sick. This is a sick house. I would like this as a house. Look, you can see downstairs. What do you guys think? That is so cool. Holy crap. Oh, she even has a little ladder. Oh my god, she is unbelievably... I mean, sorry, that was a little bit rude. You are small. Oh. You enter inside Magnus's house. Please excuse the mess, Magnus says frantically. Business has been really booming right now. Everybody has been wanting a potion or two. I haven't had time to rest. Magnus rushes over to one of her tables and starts tidying things up. When you walk inside, you can see that her tables are full of what seems to be science equipment. Is that why you've got a noise complaint? Ruth asks. Noise complaint? Why do you say that? Who's complaining? Magnus turns around in a frenzy to face Ruth, while picking up a vial of green goop. I'll have you know, I've been minding my own business, thank you very much, Magnus claims confidently. She's about to spill the vial now. The goop drips onto the floor. Then when she sees it's about to drip onto the floor, she immediately sits upright in her hands. She immediately sits it upright in her hands again. Oops! Ruth doesn't seem surprised. Uh-huh, sure. As you stare at the rest of her house, you take it in. Magnus scurries over to the counter or two in her house and goes over to the tea kettle to brew some tea. You take in the details of her home. Wow, your place looks amazing. Why, thank you. I think I like you already for saying that. Ruth speaks up. Magnus, I won't be staying long, so I'll make this quick. I was wondering if you could help me with something, Ruth asks. Magnus breaks checks and turns toward Ruth. Won't be staying long. But you just got here. You can't leave again. Besides, I'll need to fill you... I still need to fill you in on all the breakthroughs I made with Gemomancy yet. Just wait till you hear what the School of Magic has to say about it. Magnus complains. School of Magic? What's that? That's irrelevant right now, Ruth says to you. Then he turns back over to Magnus. Magnus, I need your help because I have to go on this new task of mine. But I need your help. But I also need help finding with... Oh my god, I can speak, guys. Lily without the cry. Oh, jeez. Anyways, I also need to help Nova with finding a job. Obviously, I can't do everything at once. Can you help Nova find a job for me? Magnus at first, Magnus pouts. I mean, I suppose I can help, since you're my best friend and all. But what's in it for me, huh? Why should I help? Acquaintance, not best friends. Magnus frowns. Oh, come on! What? Is she your new best friend now? Is that why you won't let me call you my best friend? Magnus glares at you, and you try to shake your head and tell her no silently, without wanting to interrupt Ruth. I promise I have nothing to do with this. Ruth groans in annoyance. No, Magnus, she's also an acquaintance. Listen, if you help Nova find a job, I will let you ramble on about what you've discovered. I just can't talk about it right now. I'll let you talk my ear off for a whole day when I return. Can you please help? Magnus doesn't buy Ruth's offer at first. Then, when... I can speak. But when she has a moment to think it over, while finishing preparations for the tea, she doesn't hesitate to be thorough. Really? Do you mean it? Magnus asks. Jeez. Ruth looks at her with a deadpan face, then answers with an amused manner. Yes. Then of course I'll help! Magnus rushes over to hand Ruth the tea she was brewing. While doing so, she accidentally spills some of the tea on the floor. Anyways, she accidentally spills some of the tea on the floor. So, and you stand stiff as stone in shock while laughing and smiling nervously. Magnus turns to face you. So, what kind of job are you looking for? Something with magic, perhaps? Oh, or maybe one that requires you to fix things. I mean, magic sounds exciting, but... Ruth chimes in. No magic, Magnus. Just a normal job, please. Ruth turns toward you. Remember what Dr. Sullivan said, Nova. Police and Dr. Sullivan did say something about staying away from magic for the time being. You thought about how cool it would be to have a job that dealt with magic, but Ruth was right. Man, you're such a buzzkill, Ruth, Magnus says with a pout. He has a point. Sorry. It's not his fault, it's just because of my condition. It's probably best I don't touch magic for now. Magnus raises an eyebrow, looking at the both of you confused. Interesting. Well, that's unfortunate. But you'll have to tell me more about it while I help you. Magnus says. So is that a yes? You'll help Nova while I'm gone? Magnus nods, reassuring Ruth. Sure thing. Don't worry, Ruth. I'll help Nova find a job. You can count on me. Magnus corrects herself to reassure Ruth further. A normal job. Then she gives a wink. You giggle at Magnus's response a bit. Ruth exhales and takes a long sip of his tea. Magnus then also hands you a cup of tea. You graciously take it. Once Ruth finishes his tea, he sets it down. Great. Thank you, Magnus. I apologize. I would stay longer. But I need to leave to start preparation for my new task. Ruth continues. If you have it handled from here, I will leave the rest to you. I expect you to have a job after this, Nova. I wish you well. Ruth then turns around and starts to walk out of the door. The pressure was on now. Please come back after you're finished. Safe travels, Ruth. Then, without another word, Ruth leaves behind, closing the door behind him. Now there was just the two of you. Man, he always has to leave. I wish he could stay longer to chat for once. He used to stay longer than a day sometimes back when we started research for gemomancy. Really? You ask. You find it hard to believe that for some reason. The fact that Ruth willingly worked with someone like Magnus before you. Yeah, Magnus exclaims. But, oh well, now that he's gone, I guess it's just you and me. Magnus takes a seat and stares at you with big curious eyes. So, Nova, tell me a bit about yourself. How did you and Ruth meet? If you tell me who you are and your backstory, I'll give you more of a reason to help you. Oh, well, how Ruth and I met is a really long story, to be honest. Well, lucky for you, I have all day. Go on, start telling. You scratch your head, a bit nervous. Okay. With that, you proceed to tell Magnus how you two met. Okay. Story time. Let's go. You find yourself sitting at Magnus's table now, finishing telling your story. Magnus sits and listens intently. After the guy trapped us in the cave, we found a statue, and it seemed as though the gem I found beforehand fit right into it. And that's how we ended up back here. I'm grateful because if it weren't for Ruth, I'd be stuck back there and in pain, but that's how I met him. You conclude your tale, and as you finish, you notice Magnus gazing at you in awe. So you're a fallen traveler, and you were bestowed the powers of unity, unlocking teleportation via statues? I guess you can say that. That's so cool! Then she gets up from her chair and starts pacing a bit as she rambles. I've never imagined statues having the ability to teleport people. That's absolutely groundbreaking. I wonder if Ruth or anybody else knows something about that. The idea that there are others like you in a city right now is truly astonishing too. Magnus bursts with enthusiasm, her excitement unable to be contained. You can't help but feel a bit nervous. You didn't want to talk about yourself anymore and fear that she would want to question you further. Plus, you wanted to get a move on with things. So you proceed to ask Magnus about who she is instead. What about you, Magnus? What's your backstory? How did you meet Ruth? Oh, of course. It's my turn, isn't it? Magnus asks. You nod in response. Where do I start? She ponders your question for a bit. Well, since you're new in here to REM, I guess I should start with what I am. I'm an animan. You tilt your head, confused. An animan? What's that? Well, for starters, in our world, we have different races besides just humans. And us humans are the most awesome out of all... Well, and us animans are the most awesome out of all of them. We're humans, but with animal-like features. We can use magic, too, just like everyone else can, Magnus explains. What's also cool is that each animan is different. I'm a mouse animan, hence my height, ears, and tail, she says, giggling afterwards. Oh, I was wondering about that. What about what you do? I noticed you have a bunch of potions and stuff. What's that about? So you've noticed, huh? Not only am I an animan, I'm your locally addressed alchemist, Magnus says. I like to mess around with a lot of magic and science. Just your normal alchemia and artifice tinkering kind of girl. The only problem is I don't have a gauntlet. Not only that, sometimes while being an alchemist, I'll come across something new, like gemomancy. You keep mentioning gemomancy. What is that exactly? You remember the part where you said that Ruth healed you with a ruby or something, right? Yeah. That's gemomancy. It's the act of using gemstones and their natural innate magic to enhance pre-existing energies and aid in spells and rituals of other magics. Oh, I see. That's cool. It's really interesting stuff. A bunch of scholars and magic users like myself stumbled upon it not too long ago. Since then, it's been the building blocks of any magic that requires a gemstone or crystal to activate it. And that's how you and Ruth met? Magnus's face lights up. Yep! Then your attention focuses elsewhere. What do you think about Ruth? I've noticed that he's really closed off. Perhaps acts a bit strange. Do you know anything about why he might be like that? Honestly, not really. I'll admit there's a lot that I don't know about the guy. But he is a loyal friend once you get to know him and hang out with him more often. Magnus looks down, a bit sad now. It's a bit upsetting, actually. Up until a couple of years ago, he was more open to me than... I don't know what happened. He just started being more busy and less available for gemomancy. Why do you think that could be? Magnus frowns, and suddenly you feel a bit bad for pestering her. Are you perhaps asking too much? Let's just say that it's just a hunch, but I think perhaps he got tangled up with the noble affairs somehow, and that's why he can't talk about it. Not even with me, because if he did, it wouldn't be good. Which surprises me because before he started being more closed off, he didn't seem like the type of person who even wanted to be tangled up into that stuff. I will say though, even though he calls me an acquaintance, I still think of him as a friend regardless. He's the only other scholarly-esque person I could get along with. Everyone else is too... what's the word I'm looking for? Arrogant, I should say. Huh. So, Ruth got tangled up into with a noble somehow? You pondered this a bit. The curiosity you have for Ruth burns even brighter now. Before you can ask another question, however, Magnus speaks up again. But that's enough about him. I wouldn't want to accidentally say something that it isn't any of my business. What do you say, Nova? Let's get started with helping you get a job, shall we? That's what you're here for, after all. Right. You almost forgot about that. You were sad that you can't stay and talk more, but perhaps you will be able to after all this is over. Sure. I'm down. Let's get started. Magnus then gets up from her chair. Great! Magnus exclaims. Then she rushes to the door. Just before she's about to leave, she turns toward you. I think I may know a few friends who can help, since it's Thursday. They might just be around. Follow me, Magnus announces. Then, with that, she darts out the door. You follow after her. Finally, a new adventure was about to begin, or at least that's what you had hoped for. Whew. Okay, job hunting starts now, I guess. Lead the way, Magnus. Oh, okay. Well, I'm nervous for the job hunting, actually. Okay. So, Magnus, you said you have connections. Where's this first place that you said you're taking me to? It wouldn't be much of a surprise if I told you now, would it? I guess you have a point. Oh, hold on one second. I see scuffling rhyme. Okay. I guess you have a point. God, I wonder where she's gonna take me. Wait, I could be. Oh, would it be cool if I could be a knight, you guys? Or, oh, I can't use magic, but that would be so cool. Or a pirate, actually, that'd be fun. Or no, pirates are pretty dangerous. What else can you get a job in a world like this? I could be... I don't know. There's a lot of possibilities, I guess. What do you guys think? Oh no, I am lagging. Lag spike! Okay. Oh, is this the place? Surprise! We're here! Welcome to the Grand Library of Aerowyn, Nova! Whoa, this place is huge. Jeez. I know, right? Come on, let's go in. Okay. I can't close the door. It won't let me. It's fine. You know what? It's fine. Okay, it's fine. Okay, I guess, we're... Ah! You enter a large dome-like building nestled in Aerowyn, where books upon books are stacked upon shelves upon shelves. So many books, in fact, that they left you amazed. You wonder what all the books were about. And as you walked in deeper, you see that this place goes up an even another flight of stairs. This place is huge, and that was no understatement. There wasn't just the towering of books that surrounded you, though. It was the towering of your internal doubts as well. Magnus had led you to a library for your first possible job. This worries you a bit because you realize you've never really worked at a library before, and you even have the qualifications for this? Not exactly. Let alone the fact that you had no idea how librarians worked, and you can't turn back now. You were already here, and that it was time to face it. You walk until you meet Magnus at the front desk, where she's already poised to greet someone. Hi, Juniper! Magnus chirps. Beside you, Juniper, the girl at the front desk, turns, a bit startled, and acknowledges Magnus. Oh, Magnus, it's just you. Juniper says, offering a greeting. Yep, it's me. How are you, Juniper? Long time no see. How's it going at the library? Magnus inquires. Juniper frowns. I'm doing alright, I suppose. Just swamped with tasks as usual. What brings you here? Are you here to request another book for your research? Whatever that is? She mutters the last part under her breath. Magnus dismisses the notion with a shake of her head. Nope, not today. I haven't been needing to do that since my last breakthrough. Instead, I've been busy making potions and attending various projects elsewhere. Unsure of how to chip into the conversation, you stand awkwardly beside Magnus and let her do the talking for now. Today might be your lucky day, Magnus says. Oh, really? How so? Juniper asks, her eyes squinting at Magnus as if she's more skeptical than before. Then Magnus explains, we actually came by to see if you needed any help around the library today. You see, my friend Nova here. She gestures over to you. Juniper glances over in your direction. Hello. It's very nice to meet you. Likewise, Juniper says, greeting. Magnus continues. She is new in Aerowyn and actively seeking employment, so I've taken it upon myself to assist her. So, do you have any job openings? Magnus inquires. Oh, I see. Juniper pauses. A moment of contemplative silence hangs in the air. Well, I don't know. We haven't had the need to hire any new librarians for quite some time now. Sometimes we offer volunteers if the situation requires it. You mentioned that you were busy today, right? How come? Magnus questions further. Yes, I guess I did say that. Every time I turn around, a new customer is asking for a book. I have a lot of organizing of books to do on the upper floors, and I haven't had time to get anything else done. Lady Windsor and Lady Willow are currently away handling other things, and a few other librarians are sick, so I've been tasked to run the library myself for today, Juniper explains. You can feel the weight of tasks she handles already, thanks to the towering of the books. Perfect! Sounds like you need some volunteers then. Why not let Nova help? Magnus insists. Juniper relents. Well, I suppose an extra hand won't hurt. Perhaps Lady Edith won't be opposed to it either. Juniper proceeds to outline the tasks at hand. I need to hunt down a few books from a couple of borrowers who are nearby, which shouldn't take too long. But in order for me to go out, someone needs to man the desk while I'm away. Would you two be fine with organizing and taking on the desk just for an hour while I'm gone? I'll pay you for your efforts, I promise. What do you say, Nova? It's your turn to contribute to the conversation now. Sure. I'm down. I won't say no to a little extra effort either. A little extra for the effort either. Magnus grins. I'll help too, since you're short on staff. Librarians in training, reporting for duty, she says, saluting to Juniper. Great. Which one of you will handle the desks then? Juniper asks. You didn't want to volunteer at the desk at first because it sounded like it would prove to be an intimidating task. But the words left your mouth before you can stop yourself. I can run it. Is there anything else that I should know before I start? You ask. Crap. Now there's definitely no turning back. Juniper smiles, and she answers you. As she answers you, she prepares to pack up a few things to take with her on her trip. Good question. If anyone asks for books, you can point them to the direction right on with this map of bookshelves here on our desk. As for if anyone wants to borrow a book outside of the library, make sure to get their name, the title of the book, and how long they're renting it for. Alright, I'll try my best. Hydrate. Ah! Everyone hydrate. Okay. I can organize the books, Magnus offers. What about for my job? How do you guys categorize them? She asks. Right. For categories, we categorize each genre by alphabetical order. It depends on the section itself, Juniper explains. Got it, boss, Magnus says. Any other questions before I leave? Juniper asks again. She's made her way out of the desk now. You and Magnus shake your head in sync. Magnus grins. Oh, Nova! To make things this more fun, let's do a competition, yeah? Let's see who can assist the most customers in an hour. You suppose that's one way to make a library job more exciting. Sure, I don't mind having a little bit of fun, as long as Juniper's okay with it. You reply. Will you be okay with it, Juniper? Magnus asks. Sure, why not? But you two better not scare away any of the customers while I'm gone. Challenge accepted, Magnus says. You can't help but laugh. I'll make sure not to get too ahead of ourselves. Juniper beams with gratitude. Perfect. Thank you both so much. If you do well, you may just land yourself as a job as a librarian, Nova. I should get going then. I will try to be back within an hour's worth of time. Please, take care while I'm gone. Good luck, and may the best helper win. With that, Juniper exits the library. Safe travels, Juniper, Magnus says, with waving goodbye. With Juniper gone, Magnus turns toward you, excitement evident in her eyes. Well, what do you think? I'm pretty good at this job finding stuff, aren't I? You chuckle. Yeah, I guess you are. Oops, excuse me. Well, let's get started then. These books aren't going to organize themselves. And check out themselves, she declared. Right. Then the two of you split off. Magnus rushes upstairs to try and find the unorganized bookshelves, while you replace Juniper's spot at the front desk. You have a moment to breathe once you're standing in the middle, a moment to think, a moment to relax. This kind of scares you, though, because you know what happens when you're alone. You begin to overthink. and worry about things out of your control. Instead, you're worried about how to actually run this desk. Even though Juniper explained to you what you need to know, customers begin rolling in. No time to think about that now. Let's just get through as best as you can. I got this. I can do this. Let's do this. The first customer arrives at the desk. God, I hope I can do this. And so the competition began. As customers approached, Nova continued working on the front desk. Magnus organized the books on the upper floors. And despite the occasional chaos, she embraced the friendly competition, fostering camaraderie between them both. Finally, I think that was the last customer. You and Magnus wrap up your tasks for the hour. Time slipping away surprisingly fast. You decide to take a break and relax at the front desk. Magnus eventually joins you as well, holding a large stack of books in her hands. Alright, I think that's all of them, Magnus calls out. All of the books upstairs are organized, and these returned books are now stacked and ready for sorting. You turn towards Magnus, acknowledging her. Tired yet? You asked. You were definitely tired yourself, and you were curious if Magnus was as well. Magnus shakes her head. Nope, I don't get tired till sundown. She notices a book in your hand. Say, what you got there? She asks. In your hands was not just any book. You decided to pick out the encyclopedia that Ruth had gifted to you earlier today. Oh, it's just a book that Ruth gave me. I figured I'd read something before the next customer comes. Ooh, what's it about? Magnus asks. An encyclopedia on mythos, you answer. Magnus's eyebrows furrow together. An encyclopedia? But why would you need that? You smile. Remember how I told you I wasn't from this world? Well, there's still so much that I don't know about this place, and I guess he felt bad, so he gave me this. You explain. A light bulb seems to go off in Magnus's head. Or perhaps she found herself shocked at the sudden information. Wait, Ruth gifting things to people? Now that's something I don't expect from him, Magnus says. Oh, really? Has he never gifted things to you before? Magnus shakes her head. No, not at all. Not to me, not to anyone, ever. Huh. Well, either way, I'm grateful that I have this now, I guess. Magnus gives you a playful nudge. Well, maybe you must be special then. Getting gifts from the mysterious Ruth. Maybe I should start dropping hints. Or maybe you were just special because of your particular situation. You laugh at the idea. I don't think that's how that works. Ruth's a bit unique. Magnus laughs. Huh, tell me about it. As both of you continue chatting, time seems to pass quickly. The front desk, now tidied up, emanates a cozy atmosphere. Eventually, the conversation shifts to Juniper's absence. When do you think Juniper will be back, you ask? No idea. She's been gone for quite a while. I hope she's okay, she remarked. Just then, the door swings open. Juniper returns, carrying a bundle of books in her hand. Her entrance interrupts your conversation. Magnus! Nova! I'm back, Juniper announces. You both spring to your feet and greet her with enthusiasm. Juniper! Magnus exclaims. Hey, Juniper. Welcome back. Where have you been, Juniper? I thought you were never going to come back, Magnus inquires. My apologies, Magnus. I didn't mean to worry you. I got carried away with something while I was out. I also had to stop by Lady Edith's place to talk to her about something. How did running the library go? She asks. It was busy. Who knew so many people wanted to check out books? We could see why you were exhausted and needed help, you explain. Juniper turns to you. Well, they don't call it a grand library of Aerowyn for nothing. Then she turns towards Magnus. Magnus, did you organize the books like I asked? Juniper asks. Juniper nods. Yep. Yep. All organized in alphabetical order like you mentioned. Great. Then I will go inspect both of your guys' works. Afterwards, I can take over the library from here. Hang tight here and I'll be back. And I'll be right back. With that said, Juniper leaves, leaving you and Magnus alone to wait. While waiting there, you can't help but express your worry about whether you did a good job or not. Alright, we're here. With that said, Juniper leaves. I really hope I did okay. Last thing I wanted to do is disappoint someone. Magnus hears your concern. Don't worry, Nova. I'm sure you did great. A few moments later, Juniper comes back downstairs from inspecting Magnus's work. Alright, I looked over your work, Magnus. Great job, Juniper says. Yay! Magnus exclaims, beaming with happiness. Now to check Nova's work. Juniper walks over to the sign-out sheet of the books that you had to use when the customers rented them out. You anxiously wait for what she thought and how well you did. And then she says, "Oh dear." You freeze when you see worry on her face. Is something the matter, Juniper? You ask, voice shaking slightly. Nova, when the customers were renting out, did you ask for the titles of the books at all? Juniper asks. Yes, I believe I did. But it did get a little bit busy to the point where we had trouble keeping up. Why? Is there something missing? Yes, she says, her face filled with a bit of grief. I'm glad you got the names of the people who rented out the books, but it seems you've made multiple errors and forgot to get some of the titles. This isn't good. This means I will have to track down all of those people who came in and get the name of the books. And I don't know when I'll have time to do that next. Oh no, Magnus says. She gives you a worried look. Dread fills your stomach. I'm so sorry, Juniper. I didn't mean to forget the titles. I could try and find the customers if you'd like. Juniper shakes her head. No, it's quite all right. That would be too much to ask of you. It was just an accident, but unfortunately both of you will have to leave the rest of it to me for the day, Juniper says, with an exhausted sigh. Again, I'm really sorry, Juniper. I didn't mean to mess it up. It's okay, Nova. Regardless of the mess, I can't let you leave empty-handed, Juniper says. Then she pulls out a bag. You look up and a bit surprised. Wait, what? Are you sure about this? You ask. Juniper nods. While yes, you messed up our renting process, I still want to compensate you, but unfortunately, we won't be able to hire you here since we're currently full staff. You too, Magnus, Juniper says. Then she hands you and Magnus a bag of coins. Success! You got paid. But the fact that you didn't do well doesn't feel that great. Magnus's forehead creased in a bit web of worry. Are you sure, Juniper? Magnus asks. Yes. Lady Edith wouldn't be pleased if I didn't compensate our volunteers, Juniper says. I sincerely thank you for both of your help today, regardless of any mishaps. The two of you are free to leave. Alright, we apologize again, Juniper. Let me know if you need any more volunteer help. I'll be around, Magnus offers. Thank you, Magnus. The two of you take care. And Nova, thank you for your attempt to help again, Juniper says. A pang of sadness hits your chest before Magnus grabs your hand and pulls you toward the exit. Come on, Nova. It's time we let Juniper handle the rest, Magnus says to you. Alright. Magnus leads you outside, and while she does, you can't help but wonder something. What if you didn't mess up? Would you have gotten the job then? But the wonder makes you feel even... But that wonder makes you feel even worse now. I'm just gonna... Man. Come on, man. No. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to mess up. Man. Okay. I don't like anywhere. I can't believe I did that. Come on, man. I thought I was really doing a good job. I mean, you have more connections? Okay, I mean, let's go to them then. I'm sure... I mean, yeah, I got some money, but... Sure, let's go to them then.
I can't deny it, I can't just fake it.